Intro. Greetings to the people of the world. My name is Sterling, and today we'll be doing another reaction video. So we'll be reacting to fatal ways animals do to protect themselves. So I don't really know. I think some type of lizard can take their own tail off, and just run because it confuses the predator, because it looks like the animal head falling off and it confuses them. I'm basically what I'm thinking. And what I'm also seeing that I didn't know if this was fatal, but I realized some animals, like this little lizard, can actually shoot blood out of its eyes to its predators and confuse them and blind them. So it says I see it in a thumbnail, and I've heard about it before. So make sure make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and share. Make sure to, if you have any reaction requests, make sure to post them down below. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Live in the wild world, you have to put in a really great deal of effort. Some animals rely on sharp fangs and quick paws. Others, on the other hand, have mastered fatal ways of defense.
Exactly. That is so weird.
What can happen if you enter someone else's territory anyway?
Charge forward.
No, I'm talking about ant territory. They'll start firing all kinds of guns.
It's what? Who got the best?
Yes, ants have not invented artillery yet, but they have something better. You've probably heard about formic acid. It's not sulfuric acid, of course, but it can still serve as a pretty good weapon. Let me explain how it works. The abdomen of the red forest ant contains a poisonous gland that releases acid. It passes through a duct into a reservoir where it's stored until it's needed. As soon as a potential danger, such as a predator or a scientist, it can also be dangerous, approaches the anthill or the ants themselves, the artillery fires a volley of acid. And you would be wrong to think that such tiny creatures are completely harmless. An ant shoots acid from a hole near the tip of its abdomen, which it can aim at the enemy. Now this, of course, is not sniper precision, but there are a lot of insects. The life of an individual doesn't matter. What matters is the survival of the entire colony.
Right.
Ants behave as a single organism, which is able to resist the attack of any predator, even a bear. And the insects seem to be quite tiny, but in order to get to them, predators have to overcome a thick cloud of acid fumes, which corrode the mucous membranes. Well, who'd want to go any further in a situation like that?
I'm just weird him putting his hands over there. Like, how does that feel?
Lizards are definitely not suitable as such food. These guys have so many different defense mechanisms against enemies that they're less likely to be anyone's dinner. There are spikes, camouflage coloring, and quick zigzagging movements that confuse the enemy. Sometimes these lizards even swell up to appear larger and more impressive. But the best part is the ability to shoot their own blood.
I have never seen a horny toad actually shoot blood out of its eyes, but it just totally shot blood out of my eyes.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's also amazing. Look for yourself. Yeah. Caught in a desperate situation, a horned lizard can shoot blood from the corners of its eyes at a distance of up to 5 meters. Not exactly what you'd expect from any living creature, right? It does so by blocking the outflow of blood from the head. There's an increase in blood pressure, which causes the tiny blood vessels around the eyelids to burst. Yeah, the horned lizard has to do a little damage to itself to engage his superpowers, but Wolverine also cut his skin every time he released his claws. All this performance confuses the predator, and the taste of the lizard's blood is often
Get the fuck
unpleasant.
off my thing.
It can even be poisonous, especially if it gets into the mouth of someone in the canine family. However, blood shots have no effect on birds of prey, so horned lizards can easily become prey to birds. It seems time to come up with a new method of defense. If horned lizards were social animals and lived in water,
I wonder
they
how
could
that
form a
tastes
kind
for
of
them.
bait ball. It's a phenomenon where
Obviously
small
good.
fish clump together in a huge spherical shoal. And no, not for the purpose of invoking Satan. It's a last measure that small shoalers resort to when threatened by predators.
Yeah.
This, for example, is how sardines act. This instinctive behavior is a defense mechanism.
Y'all remember Nemo?
Because single individuals have a greater chance of being eaten than fish in a large group.
Right.
If the same sardine bait ball can reach 10 to 20 meters in diameter and go down to a depth of 10 meters, can you imagine the size? A giant thing. But bait balls are short-lived and rarely exist longer than 10 minutes, soon disintegrating into separate individuals. However, you can't say that predators see a rotating wall of fish in front of them and just turn around and swim away.
Yeah,
They
no.
have adapted. Swordfish attack the shoals at high speed to kill or stun their prey. It then turns and returns to eat its catch.
Yeah.
Other fish use their tails or attack strictly vertically, rotating on their axis and grabbing anything that swims by. And whales? Well, whales simply
They just
open their
eat it.
mouths sharply, getting close to the bait ball. Their hunting skills deserve a separate video. So if you want to,
Yeah, they just
I'm
eat it.
beginning to think that the smaller the creature, the more bizarre ways of defense it invents. The Kentish plover can hardly be called a large bird. In fact, they are no larger than a sparrow and weigh
Oh,
about
wow.
40 grams. But even in such conditions, they've learned to resist predators. Kentish plovers don't try to attack first or even camouflage themselves. They divert danger to themselves to save their young. If an enemy approaches, the adult bird pretends to have a problem with its wing and moves away from the nest, thereby diverting the threat from the clutch.
It's
See?
smart,
Look,
though.
It pretends to be wounded so badly that it'll become easy prey. And when the predator is far enough away from the nest, the bird takes off and returns to its eggs. I wonder how many times this works with the same threat. Distracting the enemy is pretty understandable behavioral strategy, but it's not only found in birds. Sssterlinggg spiders are considered one of a
Mr. Clark, your daughter is a very good kisser.
kind, because they're the only ones that hide from their enemies like this. Sssterlinggg live only in Morocco. And unlike their relative from Namibia, the golden wheel spider, which in case of danger can trivially roll down the dunes, the Moroccan one uses its own legs for that and can roll not only down but also up and even against the wind. This is a ninja spider or a
Yeah.
ninja spider, whichever you prefer. Moving at a speed of 2 meters per second, the insect moves twice as fast as running the traditional way. Just what you need when another spider,
That's
Sssterlinggg, or
ingenious.
human suddenly appears close by.
Isn't that
If
a
I saw
camel?
Sssterlinggg, I'd roll too. By the way, the
Spider?
discovery of this species influenced developments in biomimetrics, which resulted in an experimental robot that moves in a similar way. It's believed that this robot can be used in agriculture, at the bottom of the ocean,
better pay
or
that
even
spider.
on Mars. In short, it doesn't care where it rolls. And while we're on the subject of
Copyright
all sorts of
infringement.
crawling creatures, these are ribbon worms, and the ribbon worms seem to be some sort of very distant earthly relative of venom. When pressed, they spit out what looks like white slime, which immediately takes on a life of its own. Seriously, look, it's moving. It's moving. Okay, actually, it's not just slime, it's one of the internal organs that's used when hunting. Normally, ribbon worms twist out their proboscis to grab their prey, and the slime that covers it paralyzes the prey. The only thing left to do is pull and eat it. But sometimes ribbon worms use the same principle to defend themselves against a predator, mostly because some species simply can't do anything else. Now let's go underwater again. Look at this crab, and more specifically at its claws. Those things look like boxing gloves it carries around all the time. Why? Because this guy is always ready for a fight, one at a time.
Are those little anemones?
Of course,
Period.
as is usually the case with nature, this kind of crab couldn't have just appeared all by itself. Strictly speaking, this tiny creature is called Libia, and it holds in its claws actinia. That is, Libia just takes special corals and starts waving them around. And it even has a name. Mutualism. It's a form of cohabitation between different organisms, equally beneficial to both parties.
A symbiotic
It uses
relationship.
only 3 species of actinia, which apparently were selected in the process of evolution. While hunting, the crab freezes, blending in with the surrounding background. When its prey swims by, it grabs it with its unusual claws, and each of the animals proceeds to eat. Without the actinia, the crab would be doomed to starve to death.
Right.
Its claws are too delicate, and
Ew,
it's unable to
weird.
get food with them. In addition to getting the food, the actinia help the crab defend itself from its enemies. All the species living on the claws of the Libia are poisonous. However, in case the crab can't find a suitable actinia, it uses debris from other corals or sponges. It's not that cool, but it's better than nothing. Turns out to be Kind of brass knuckles. While in one part of the world's oceans, small crabs are waving corals to repel fish attacks, elsewhere, in freshwater, there are electric eels. It's perhaps one of the most famous species used for intimidation. Sharks, piranhas, and electric eels. Choose which is more appropriate for your horror movie. But unlike the first two, eels are to truly be feared. The electric eel stuns its enemies and prey with an electrical discharge up to 600 volts. It has special organs consisting of numerous electrical plates. They're modified muscle cells between the membranes, of which the potential difference is formed. The organs occupy 2/3 of the body weight of this fish, and yes, the electric eel is not related to ordinary eels. It's rather a very electrified catfish.
It's an electric eel. Oh!
As soon as an eel is attacked by a predator or it needs to stun its prey, the organ cells produce electrical discharges. And believe me, this isn't something you want to feel at all. To date, there are a few known cases of deaths after an encounter with an electric eel. Nevertheless, numerous discharges can lead to respiratory or heart failure, which can cause a person to drown, even in shallow water. But one of the strangest and probably creepiest ways of self-defense is used by Japanese bees. The main enemy of these insects are hornets.
Yeah.
Which attack and ravage hives.
Yeah, I remember this.
30 hornets destroys an entire hive of 30,000
Those things,
bees
I'm sorry,
in about
those things
3
are
hours.
creepy.
And the bees have learned to fight back. When the first hornet approaches the hive, the worker bees swoop in and leave the passage open,
He
allowing
effed
the
up
hornet to
attacking
sneak
him.
in. Once the hornet is inside the
They
hive,
jump
the
his
bees
ass.
surround the enemy, forming
They
a ball of
jump
about
him.
500 bees. It's impossible to get out.
Yep.
Bees composing this ball use their wings to push the air warmed by their muscular tension inside,
they burn
so that
it.
the temperature around the hornet often rises to 47 degrees Celsius. And since the maximum temperature a hornet can withstand is between 44 and 46 degrees Celsius, the predator dies. Literally. Baked inside a crowd of bees.
Period.
The latter, on the other hand, are able to withstand temperatures up to 50 degrees and therefore remain unharmed, and probably very happy with themselves.
Yeah, y'all, that's crazy. Like, I'm sorry, hornets, I just don't see the purpose of hornets like wasps or just like any like thing, including with like hornets, especially like, have y'all heard of an assassin bug? Like those things literally like have a little tether that they stick to people and it takes your blood out. So I just really don't be seeing the use of these creatures in this world. It's just like God, why did you put this creature in here? But yeah, like legit, I remember seeing something about that, about how the bees like they form around the hornet and they burn it basically with, you know, warming their bodies. Speaking of bees, I know I've said this before, but did y'all know that bee lady from TikTok is a Trumpy? I just wanted to say that. I just like saying Trumpy. Like, you're Trumpy? Oh wow, you're Trumpy. Okay, let's move on. Alright, if you like that video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure if you have any reaction requests to post them down below in the description box below. And and also make sure to hit that bell notification to stay updated, and also follow my socials for updates as well, my Instagram and my Twitter. So until next time, everybody, Sterling is signing out. Later.